Ladies and gentlemen, you're tuned into the Wednesday Call Live! Brought to you by AMP Studios in beautiful Burlington, North Carolina. Now, let's hear it for our host, our President and CEO, Andy Albright!
All right, y'all grab a seat. I'm so excited, I can't believe it. I tell you, we were laughing so hard in my office just now. It was a bunch of us there. We were laughing so hard, and I just said, I just want to remind y'all are all getting paid to do this. I'm not sure if you should be laughing so hard. Oh, we were crying. Oh, gosh. Welcome. Glad to have y'all here today. So many winners in the room. I'm so excited about the way things are growing around the country. How many, what did y'all have? 97, 90, 91, 91 in Greensboro. Was that last night? And Paul Roberts just flies in just to come say hey and do a hot spot and then flies back out. I was like, boo! That gives me cold chills. When you start seeing people do for other people like that, you know what I mean? That's just, you start going, oh, start to get all warm and fuzzy, oh. That's just crazy. How many did you have, Nick? How many did you have there? Nick had 25. Come up here, Nick. Talk to me, baby. Nick, like a boss, Taflin boss. Nick, like a boss type. See, here's what I'm thinking about. As big as you're going to be, we need to start you training, get your mic trained, okay. Get your hand trained, get your smile trained.
Yes,
tell them, Nick, tell them who you are and how you got connected to us and how you got started and who's the upline, stuff like that.
Nick Taflin Bass. I was hired by Trina Noel. Trina Noel. In Louisville, Texas. She called my resume off of Monster one day, left me a message, and I called her back. And she
left a message. That's a good tip.
She left me a message, and after I called her back, she convinced me to go to a hotel in Greensboro and meet some crazy folks. And Paul Roberts was there that night, and got to meet Terry and Tia that night, and Toby and Stephanie, and
okay, let me be clear. She's not in Greensboro.
She is not in Greensboro.
Where she live?
In Louisville, Texas.
Louisville, Texas, right outside Dallas.
Yes, sir.
Part of Dallas.
No.
So she called. Now we're not talking about leaving messages for leads. We're talking about when you're recruiting. People say, "Would you leave a message?" Yeah, I would. Like, hey, Atlanta, checking with you, see about you looking for a job still. Give me a buzz back. I got a deal I want to talk to you about. I think you might fit. I'm looking at your resume. That's what she did.
Yes.
So you called her back and say, yeah, I'm still looking.
Mm-hmm.
And so she's in Louisville, and you know that, right? You know she's when you're on the phone. Can you remember?
I found out when I found out whenever we spoke. Yeah, she was in Texas.
Okay, so you're talking to her and you realized it, and then she said, I want you to go to a hotel meeting room and meet some other people.
Yeah, to meet Paul Roberts and meet some folks.
Oh, Paul was going to be there?
Paul was there that night, yes.
So Paul was out.
Long hair and everything at that time.
That's back when he was Texas Jesus.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Now he's Jogger Paul. He runs a lot,
Yes, he does. He did a marathon.
So I also want to tell y'all, this is what I always talk about what I used to wear when I graduated college. This is what I wore all the time. White shirt, black pants. Shoes are a little fancy, but just standard, like everywhere. It's like a uniform for me, white shirt, because I was trying to, because well, some of you might not know, but you're in a corporate job. Your job is to suck up and give them what they want. You with me? So I always just try to be my standard engineer, not crazy. I didn't need to talk to them neither. I'm just like, yes, sir. I was just thinking about that. Hey, so he books you into a conference. Did you know you were going to meet Terry? Did she give you names?
No. I don't recall if she told me about Terry and.
What were you doing? What was your job? Did you have a job?
I had left Food Lion at that time, and I was doing Uber.
Now, did you really did you spray the water bottles on the
That's my favorite part. That was the best part of the day. I mean, you got the spray.
Show me kind of how it looked. You would miss the vegetable.
Yeah,
you were the vegetable mister.
Yes. Yeah. We'll go with that.
That's what gets my nerves. You ask people, what do you do? Say, I'm executive with the grocery and a grocery industry. Yeah, I will ask you what you do.
I managed the department.
You managed the department.
Yes.
You sprayed the vegetables.
I did. I sprayed the vegetables.
That's what I'm trying to do.
And sometimes I made other people spray them too.
Oh! He done pyramided. He done pyramided the grocery industry. Man done pyramided the grocery industry. Hey, listen to this. Look, people watching this show, and they broke, busted, disgusted. They sick and tired about being sick and tired. So you got to keep this in mind. When they tune in and they listen to us, they go like, what am I listening to this crap for? This ain't going to help me. They just having fun and bull crapping around. You with me? Yep. So you got to think. When you're talking, when you do a show, or when you're doing a hot spot, or when you're in somebody's house, you got to kind of put yourself over in their shoes, you know. So I imagine the last 15 minutes we kind of frustrated them. You with me, y'all? Calm down. We're gonna get to the part where you get paid. That's right. And where you get leads, and where you get to laugh and joke around and travel the world with us, right? So I just want to. I was thinking of them out there being frustrated. I could feel it. Calm it down. We're going to get to you. We love you. My name's Andy Albright. I'm your friend. Did you feel a little bit like that when you came to the hot spot? You're like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
What were you thinking? What was going on? First of all, how long ago was this?
2.5 years ago.
2.5 years ago. Mm-hmm. And you had left your job at the grocery?
Yes.
You had no job?
I was doing Uber at the time.
You were Ubering? Yeah. You were one of those guys?
One of those guys.
How many times do people say to you, how long you been Ubering?
I don't even know.
Was it like thousands?
All the time, yeah. How long you been doing?
Let me give y'all a tip. Quit asking the Uber driver how long he's been an Uber driver. He gets that every single time somebody gets in there. Anybody ever ask, watch this, how many of y'all ask the Uber driver how long you been Ubering? Cut it out. That's not creative. Well, I was trying to show concern. That's not show concern. So you did Uber driving?
I did, yes.
How'd you like that?
It was okay. I liked the flexibility of the scheduling.
Oh, yeah. That is a brilliant strategy, scheme, category.
But it just didn't pay like this pays.
No, it don't pay like this pays. Then you don't interact with people, and it's not ongoing relationships. They don't do free trips.
You interact with people, they're just usually drunk.
Come over this way. Come over center aisle. So tell us, walk us through. So you ain't from here, I don't think, the way you talk.
No, New York originally.
You're from New York.
Yes.
And where you live in Greensboro?
Kernersville, right about 5 minutes from Terry.
Okay. All right. So what was you thinking when you sat there and me? Were you all excited? I'm all in. I'm gonna kill this. I'm smarter than these people. I'm better than these people. Or I don't know if I can sell. I don't know if this suits me. What was your thinking?
You talking the very first time?
Yeah.
And, it was the way Paul really broke it down and explained it. He kept it very simple, and it was just very small steps, very simple. He didn't go into the weeds about product or any kind of junk. It was like, this is what I'm looking for. This is what we do. Can you help us? And it was just, he made it simple enough that I said, okay, let's give it a shot.
He was like, let's give it a shot.
Yeah. Wasn't doing anything else at that time anyway. So.
Yeah, I mean, you had flexibility.
Yeah.
Now, do you have one kid?
One, yes, sir.
How old?
She just turned 7.
7. And you got her all the time?
Not all the time, but I have her at least
so her mother gets her part of the time?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Is her mother here, or is she?
Yeah, she's here as well.
Okay, all right, cool. So that was all you're thinking, I mean, I'm paying my bills already. If I add this into the mix?
Uber was not exactly something it was something to do to make money while I find.
It was just to eat.
Yeah, something.
Yeah.
And then, and honestly, this, when I first saw this and decided to go ahead and do it, it was the same thought process. Something.
Oh, this was the same thing. You were like, I got one Uber, two Uber. This was like
yeah,
your Uber
it's
business.
something else to be able to make money at the time until I find something. I had no idea I was going to turn to this.
Okay, that is the biggest recruiting tip I can give you. People like that, you don't want to get their life committed to this. You want them to try this like Uber until they can find what they're looking for. You said, well, I thought we wanted them all in. We do, but we don't throw that up front. Does that make sense? That'll mess it all up. The biggest mistake I find new people, they try to tell everybody how great this is and ask people will they commit their life to it. I say it's pretty good and you can try it and see if you kind of like it. Does that make sense? I take down this part and I take up this part. In other words, less committed, just try it. Not so phenomenal. It's just a pretty good thing. And people say, what do you tell them is the best thing? Well, I always tell them, I would do this, Terry. If I were you, Tia, I'd say me and Tia is the best thing about it. I would. That's what I tell people. I go, it's me and Jane the best thing about it. Danny and Lori, that's what I'd say is Danny and Lori is the best thing about it. Right. Because here's the thing. Because no other opportunity to look at has you. Right. So it eliminates that, well, I can do this. Yeah, I'm not over there. You see what I'm saying? Like, that sets it so apart immediately. Okay? What's the best part? Me. Working with me. I'm a nice guy. I'm gonna help you. I'm committed. I'm honest. I know the ropes. I know where the bathrooms are. I know where the steak. I know where the steak sauce is. I'm your guy. I'm your huckleberry. Does that make sense? Like that's the big, most critical thing that you can tell them. Which I know that Trina said that, and I know Paul said that because they listen to this sort of thing. Okay, so when you realized you had to go to people's house and sell. How was that? And
I pretty much knew that from the beginning, and I was.
Had
cool
you ever
with that.
done anything like that
No,
before?
never done anything like that before. But
had you ever built a pyramid? Did you ever had a recruiting team or anything like that?
No,
you ever done
I mean
it
just like I said, got to manage people in a department, but nothing to this effect, nothing to this scale.
So 2.5 years later, and you had 25 people in your hierarchy at the Greensboro meeting.
Yeah.
Do you have people in other states?
Texas, yes.
Texas, Louisville,
and San Antonio.
And San Antonio. So how many different legs do you have operating and going and getting contracted?
Let's see. We just brought in a young man by the name of G in Louisville. He just went last week in Louisville. He's already put 3 people under him. He's bringing people to the meeting tonight.
Okay.
Laura in San Antonio.
That's 2.
She was just out running appointments with Kelly yesterday, and I believe she's going to be doing the academy in Dallas next month as well.
Okay.
And I got down in Charlotte, Tanika, who came up to Greensboro yesterday.
Yeah.
She got her daughter-in-law, Alexis, in, who just brought
third
in
leg.
Nicole, yeah. And then, of course, Lisa and Chris and Dustin and everybody in that leg that was really huge in Greensboro yesterday.
Okay. So that's your biggest leg.
Yeah.
Who is that? Who heads that up?
It's Lisa Boyce and Jason Haas together. They have brought Chris
Lisa
Kofer.
Boyce and Jason Haas.
And they have Chris Kofer.
Yeah.
And she's been absolutely.
Chris is just wide open.
Oh my gosh,
Chris killing it.
Yeah, she's got
Chris Kofer.
She's got Dustin Pruitt, who's out there selling. He's done IULs. He's done annuities already. Going out there killing it. She just brought in a couple people. I see Dalton and Amanda Brown, a really sharp young couple, getting ready to go in. They brought in. See, she's got Brandon, who brought in Crystal.
This thing's just branching out all over the place.
Yeah, it's just blowing up down there. And
I've never seen. Well, when we first started in 2000, really in 2000, we were psycho like this and growing crazy like that. You with me? But I don't think, and so from 2000 until 2007, and then the economy went to, just banks shut down, and there was people committing suicide, and it was crazy in America. And after that, we had to kind of get reorganized because it was crazy. America was, the banks, the mortgage companies, and we had to get our mind and our act together. But we changed the way we paid out, the commission grids, the bonuses, incentives. We changed all that to incorporate for kind of the disaster the country was having. And so now, this year, we switched really back to like we were, where it's wide slam open. Now, let me explain something to you. From 2002 to 2007, we went through the roof. And I mean, we've done okay from 2008 to 2018, that 10 years. But what I'm looking for in the next 5-year run, 2 to 5 year run, is we go to $1 billion. Does that make sense?
That's right.
Just if you're young or old and young at heart, and it might be better news if you're old, because if you're old, you don't want your business to get big when you're dead. Does that make sense? You want it to get big before you die. And see, I'm turning 5'5" this year. 5'5". You with me? So I'm thinking, I want to get this thing done now. So 2 to 5 years, you with me? We take this thing to $1 billion, baby. How many of y'all in? Woo! Does that mean, the way we do that is we get more people to get more people selling more insurance. Does that make sense? More people selling insurance, getting more people. So it's that networking thing and blowing this thing wide open is the way it's going to work. So did you struggle with selling in the beginning? Did you ride with anybody? Did you train? How did that go down?
So I ran the very first time I ran, I did it by myself.
Did you call anybody? Did you call for help from the home?
I did call from the home. Wasn't really that good at closing. You know,
I can't see you. I mean, your previous experience. You know what I'm saying? Like, well, he wasn't trained.
No.
Get your little tomato back up on that.
Yeah. But no, it definitely took practice and repetition and all that. I did go out to Louisville that year later on, I think that summer, and I did ride with Jenny Patel one weekend as well. So I got some training. And she helped a lot.
So now, how many appointments do you book a week? Give us some of your numbers and stats, how it looks for you now.
Probably about 12, 15 appointments a week right now. That on average I'm booking. Issue paying 10, 15,000 a month.
Okay.
And all that stuff.
And spend the rest of the time recruiting.
Yeah.
And building.
Yeah.
And training. Yeah. And so you're paying your bills now.
Yeah.
Did you win the Paris?
Yes.
You won Paris?
Yes.
Have you ever been to Paris?
I've never been to Paris.
Okay. And you didn't win. You didn't win
No, I didn't.
Switzerland.
No, I did not.
Okay. Are you going to try to win everything this time?
Yes, I want Seattle.
You wanted Seattle and Alaska. Good. Good. Had never been to Paris.
Never been to
Paris. Excited about that?
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right. So what do you? I mean, the money. You like the money?
Yeah.
You fired up about the money?
Yeah.
You see how it's going to get crazy as your network, your agency grows. You know, as your agency grows. What is your other favorite? Talk to us. Come over here. Come over here. Talk to these guys. Who's new, like in the first 90 days with us? First 90 days, raise your hand. First 90 days. Talk to these people about what you like other than the crazy money and the potential and all that. What do you like about the whole system?
It's the community.
Talk to them.
I've never. When people tell you it's a family, we're not exaggerating. We're not being fake. It's a family. You know, coming from the retail world where pretty much everybody kind of hated each other is the best way. I'm coming over here and everybody actually loves each other. We're all rooting for each other. You know, good God, I work with your agents. They call me from the house. You work with my agents, Toby, Steph, the same thing. And we don't make a dime off each other, and we're just all constantly helping each other. And good God, you were such a help to me at the beginning at the office in Winston, and you know, when dialing and helping me get through, and just the community in general just helps you grow as a person. And it's not just about business, it's the personal development. And it's second to none. The leadership, you, Paul, Trina, oh my God, it's life-changing.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how you can get a better endorsement belief system than a company that does something like that. And if anybody can understand how much blood, sweat, tears, energy, sleepless nights that it took to build something like this, you know, with the help of Fitz and Diane and Paul and Chris Long and Andy Riddle and Debbie Ben and Jay Turner and Chadwick Ray and the help of the Carries on the West Coast, you know, just, it's impossible to do. You know, have y'all ever, everybody seen cats running around? You ever seen 2 or 3 cats running around at one time? Can you imagine herding up 40 or 50 cats? Herding them. That's what it's like. You run over here and they run over there, they run up trees. You just like, I want to pull your hair out, you know, to get it set up like this. It's worth billions.
It is.
To you, and it's at least worth millions and definitely immediately worth hundreds of thousands of dollars that we bring to the table. It's kind of like what I ask people, it's like, what you bringing to the table? What you got? You know? What will you bring? Right? We got, it's like Clemson. You go to play football, you know what they got. What do you bring? What you got? Because people always go, we're going to try this out. So let me explain something to you. We trying you out, bro. You ain't trying us out. Because if you suck, you suck. Does that make sense? And we can help you, and we can coach you, and we can train you. But what we can't bring is ambition. We can't bring ambition. We can't bring stick-to-itiveness. We can't bring persistence. You got to bring something to the table. Does that make sense? What do you think you brought to the table most? What's your, I mean, I'm kind of putting you on the spot, but this is your attributes. What do you think you brought to our table, the Alliance table, to the Paul Roberts, to the Trina Noel table?
Unwilling to give up.
Unwilling to give up.
Yeah. I would say just not, no matter how, you know, it's going to be tough times, and just push through it and keep going and not give up.
What do you think he brought to the table, Terry? Yeah. What do you think he brought to the table?
A childlike faith.
You think he was just an action sort of guy?
I would see him literally get hung up on, cursed out, and he'll just look at the phone. And
He didn't take it as a sign from God to quit.
No. Nope.
Let me tell you something. You get a person who gets cussed out and they take that as a sign from God to quit, you can't do nothing with them. Yeah. You can't save them.
Yeah. And his consistency.
Oh, he brought consistency.
Every week. He don't just go to one hot spot. He's in Charlotte on Mondays and Greensboro on Tuesday, or either Raleigh. He's always serving the team. He always gets to the hot spot early and help set up and stay late and break down. He's just been a good friend to a lot of people that come through the Greensboro meeting. Just a consistent smile. And then last night, he done broke out a 3-piece suit. All 3 pieces, baby. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You had on a vest.
I did.
My man had on a vest. Let me tell y'all something. You want to get me excited? Start talking about how our hot spots are getting dressed up. People wearing vests and fancy ties, little cufflinks. Whoa! Albright be like, oh! Like, I'm not kidding. You start telling me how we dressing up at hot spots and wearing the right clothes. Yeah.
Teachable.
God.
I told him, I remember one night.
Teachable?
Yeah, one night I was like, hey, next week, why don't you pick up a tie? If you ain't got one, I'll bring one for you.
Yeah.
Next week, he came in with a necktie. And then about 2 weeks ago, I was like, man, your team is exploding, Bo. You ever thought about bringing out a blazer? The next week, he had on a blazer. It's like everything, he just moves.
I was thinking, who else knows Nick in here? Who else? Oh, look, everybody raise their hand. How pass it back there to Toby and Stephanie? What would you say, Stephanie? I'm a female touch. What do you think? What do you think he brought, Stephanie? What do you think was a big asset?
Day one, he has always been a server.
I guess stand up and take just a step forward so people can see you on the show.
So he has always just served the team. You know, the guys from Texas that are always with Paul, they talk about when they come in to North Carolina, Nick is always like, y'all need a ride? What time's your flight leave? Right. You know, they may fly into Raleigh, and like he said, he lives in Kernersville. Right. And then he passes the office where their in location is to go to Raleigh to pick them up. It may not even be, you know, Trina or directly related to him, but he has always been such a server, not only to our hotspot, but just his team in general.
So, okay, first thing, childlike faith. Let me tell you, make sure, a lot of people don't know what that means. What that means is he took action. Kids are not fraidy cats. They take action. Does that make sense? And then they do that action over and over again until they get what they want. So a childlike faith who does not hang around is not going to solve it. And then a person who hangs around all the time but doesn't have faith is never going to get it. It's that combination of being a server and a friend and childlike faith. Because I know people, I don't want to look at nobody in particular, and so I'll just look at every one of you, that hang around with everything, but they don't do the do. They don't book the appointments, they don't try, they don't make mistakes. And then I know other people, they're probably not in here, they're childlike faith people, but they know everything. So they believe in God and they think they are Him. Ooh, you with me? They workers, but they don't help pick up the chairs. They don't pick up nobody at the airport. They're not servers. They're not team players. They're individuals who think they can do it without the team, which is very difficult to do anything without a team, unless it's anything big. Okay? So it's that combination of childlike faith and hanging around. See, to me, that's what the deal was with Nick. That's what made him special. He wasn't, you know, the 6'6", blonde hair, blue eyes sales guy, which, you know, we'll take those guys, right? But most of them are more like me and Nick, you know, just worker boys. But that ability to hang in there. What else would you say, Stephanie?
He's always come with a good attitude. You know, no matter what was going on in his personal life, it's like, you know, he could turn it off, put the smile on, and, you know, whenever you get in a more intimate setting, you'd actually find out, you know, maybe a glimpse of maybe what might have been going on. But, you know, in front of everybody, in front of the masses, he just, nothing was wrong. Everything was perfect.
Oh, that's great. Mm-hmm. I was just listening to an audio about that. Put on that show, bring it, optimism, no matter what's going on in your life. Not many people know. That's good stuff right there. All right. Thank you, Stephanie. Hand that mic back up, William. Brother, listen, I'm going to tell you something. You are the bread and butter. You're the salt, baby. You're the basic. You're what we're looking for. This is who we're looking for. When I say Alliance Aiden, this is him. This is Alliance Aiden. Does that make sense? Day one. Day one. Day one. Day one. Hey, dude, he moved up in the grocery business. He did have employees. He had staff, you know. He was the best corn sprayer. I'm not kidding. He had a little girl. He lived in New York. He's lived in different cities before. Anytime you get a person that's moved, and not moved like across town, but to a different state or a different culture. It's a whole different culture down here in what they're dealing with in New York. All that is educational stuff that he hit. So, hey, brother, we're proud of you. Get after this Alaska.
Yes, sir.
And win that, and get your team in. Driving depth, Bo. I'm so excited. Thank you. Thank you, Nick. Nick, like our boss, Kaplan boss. He brought something up that I want to talk to y'all about just a little bit here. That's family reunion. Let me see if I can find, the Leadership Academy. We've got to put a cutoff date. We've had more than 50 people apply in every city. And here's what I want you to do. When you don't get in, I want you to get mad. Okay? I want you to say, they overlooked a super talented person and I'm going to show them. Does that make sense? And a lot of people applied. They said, if I can get in, I will go to Burlington, Florida. I will go to North Carolina, Florida, or Texas. Anyone you let me in, and I appreciate y'all being flexible. let me say this. We haven't decided the 50 that are going to be in, but Robbie and Bob and the other board that's picking who's in, if a person applied to all 3, we got to give them a better shot of getting in one of them. Does that make sense? That needs to be one of the highest criteria on there, is that they ask for any of the 3. Okay? If you don't get in, I want you to be mad. Not mad at me, especially not mad at me. Not mad at, I'm not deciding. Bob Grannon. Don't be mad at Bob. Don't be mad at Bob. Don't be mad at Robbie. They don't know you. You remember Dad telling me, you don't know me. We don't know you. You now have a chip on you. We're going to give you a chip on your shoulder. If you're one of the 50, we really don't know how you got in. You just got into the 50, okay? And we have a pretty straight up criteria. Age, education, what you've done so far is really the big deals. Age, education, what you've done so far as far as the do. And then relationships, you have a tight relationship, somebody's pushing for you, that's a big part of it. But we're only going to take 50 people in each one of these first 3 events. And so I know there's going to be a lot of people mad. I want you mad. And if you say, I don't care, it doesn't bother me, then you definitely didn't need to be in the 50 that got in. We want you mad, chip on the shoulder, and I want you to outset. What we're going to do is we're going to measure your production over the next 6 months compared to the people that went to the leadership. And what I want you to do is spank them. And then talk trash about it, and then we'll do something for you. But you just, so does that make sense? I should have thought about this before I said limit to 50, because somebody's going to be mad. And I didn't know how many people are going to be mad. Now I know. Okay. Billy, do you have the agenda for that by chance? If you don't, that's fine. We had it the other day. I don't know if we still have it. The reason I want to show it is for you to understand what you're getting. First of all, let me be clear. I want more applications to come in now. As in, I want to take a guy that was going to be in it, and he gets bumped out because you're better. Does that make sense? I want better people applying. What do you mean better? Crazier, fanatical people that are just out of control. Get in your application. There's an application on band. If you're not on band, that means your manager has not invited you. That is a poor manager that didn't invite you on band. I apologize. Not all of our managers are perfect. They're not all. They're going to make mistakes. But you need to invite them so they can get on band. That's where they can get the application. Most of our managers have the applications. They give it to you. If they didn't give it to you, maybe they didn't think you were good enough. And that's when you tell your manager, you have misjudged me. And they go, no, I just forgot. And you go like, forgetful, are you? And then you get your application. You with me? And fill it out and make sure it gets to the right person and put a special note on there. Okay. I want to let you know, too, these meetings are not for the weak. They're not for people that are used to getting 8 hours of sleep every night. They're not for the use of people that just piddle. This meeting, we start with a social. That part, any of you will be good with. Y'all are all social. Y'all come rolling in. So the first night is social. No training other than meeting, getting to know people and say, why do you think you got in and where do you live? The next morning it starts at 8 a.m. and it's going to go till 11 at night. 8 a.m. till 11. So I ain't never been a part of nothing like that. We know. Every minute is planned out on the agenda to what we're going to do for 3 days like that. We're going to role play with you. You'll get to speak. You'll get to make phone calls. We're going to cover selling, recruiting, and building. It is the Millionaire Manual crushed down into 3 days, 24 hours a day. It is nuts. And then the last night, we'll have a celebration, awards, recognition, and the challenge going forward. You're not paying for all the books and all the materials. This is a $25,000 or $30,000 seminar that we're going to do for free to the 50 that we select. Okay? You will pay for your food, but listen to this. You don't have to pay for your food until 6 months after the deal. and it's $200. And this is the first time we do it. It'll probably be crazy more expensive next time to pull it off like this. But we're doing it. We're practically giving it away this time. So for $199, we pay for your food for 3 days, and then it comes out of your pay, your commissions 6 months from now. Except we expect you to kill it and write over 100,000 in the first 6 months, and then we'll waive your tuition, your food costs. So even that'll be free. And the way we'll do that is we'll do that the same way we do points for the Alaskan cruise. Okay? Does that make sense? So annuity credit, IUL credit, all that you get credit for, so you can wipe out that $200 and don't have to pay it. Does that make sense? So Burlington, North Carolina is March 7th, 8th, 9th. You need to get your application in quick. 18th, 19th, 20th, 21st through 23rd. And here's the crazy agenda. That is day 1. Here is day 2. So we're going mindset at 11 o'clock, baby. Preparation, how to build your milk carton. That's your file folder. What's the numbers game? What does that correlate to? And then here's day 3. And then so we socialize the summary right here. We wrap up at like 10 o'clock, even that 3rd night. So and if you're not going to commit to every day, we don't want you there. Does that make sense? If you don't commit to every day, we want somebody that wants to do the whole thing, that wants to be this psycho, this committed, okay? Now, other dates that you need to get on your mind, family reunion is July 18th through the 21st. So right now what we need is hotel rooms booked, airlines booked. You need to start thinking, where are you going to stay? Let's go ahead and get the Best Western sold out, the Hilton, the Marriott. Let's get them all sold out. Let's let Burlington know we're coming. Does that make sense? Reservations. And then your job is to get as many people as you can here with you in your hierarchy. Check with your managers. We got discounts on tickets. They have discounts on tickets, and they can help you. Also, I want to let you know, well, I'm not supposed to say this yet. I can't tell you. Y'all going to have to figure that one out. There's something tied into that that's going to sell out. It's going to sell out, and you need to know that you need to read my mind, and nope, my staff will kill me. I don't want to be killed by my staff. Okay, all right. So, other thing, I wanted to let y'all know that Brant Swindell is leading the country now in points for this all expense paid cruise. And to Seattle, it's only 115,000 points, and he's already in the first month he's pulled together 90,000 points. MK has pulled together 64,000 in the first month. Dora Wasaki 52,000. A guy named Mike Shields wrote one policy and he got 45,000 points. I can tell you what it was. It was a $450,000 annuity, and he got 45,000 points for it. Minerve, who has been out of the country most of this year, is number 5 with 36,000. Sarge is 36,000. Eric Thomas, James Coleman up there in the top 8. Christian Cameron, new dude. Have I got the right guy when I say Christian Cameron? No? Huh? That's the girl, the lady, and Ben Ortiz? Yeah, okay. I wasn't sure if it's that Christian or this other Christian. So, hey, Christian. Christian, number 10, number 9, and Marcus Richard, number 10 in the country. Near misses Mark Hutchinson, Travis Graham. Way to go, Travis. Way to go, Hutch. Marty Dozier, Tim Tipton. Way to go, Tim. I know he's loving this IUL training. Kimberly Spinelli, Jan Miller, Jeremico, Pam Moore, Merlene Felix, Ada Crane, and there you go. That's top 20. All right. So, and that's life and annuities combined, the numbers I'm giving you right there. So 10% credit for life and full credit for IUL. So, what else? I had some big stuff to talk to you about. You know what I don't have and I was supposed to have is my book in here. Anybody got one of my books handy? You got one? The house book. I'm supposed to have one of those. If somebody could bring me one of those, That would be fantastic. Oh, we got one. Here we go. Never mind, staff. Y'all don't have to run. Hey, have y'all started reading this? Hemi started reading this. Hemi's mind's blown. I'm freaking out reading it again myself. I'm like, oh, it's too much in here to know. Yeah, like, I can't know all this. I had to reread this over and over again. Chris Hill wants y'all to buy more for your downline and parents, kids. And he said the way we could do that is we gave away a couple of these. Who would like one? Who would like one free to give away to somebody else? We'll do this right here. Take your hand and reach down up under your seat and see if there's any down in there. Nope, none are down there. Oh, we got one. Raise it up. Raise it up high. There's another one in here. Oh, there it is right there. All right, so open them up and see what you got here. I want to let you know, these things are signed by Jeff Bright. Okay, no, everybody else quit looking. There's only 2 of them out there. And also, did y'all get those Frisbees? Were there no Frisbees in your seat? Some people call them CDs. Let me see what they look like. I just want to let you know what I would do with those. I'd use these as Frisbees because nobody's going to have a CD player. So we're giving these away as free decorated Frisbees. You're welcome. Thank Chris Hill and Jeff Bright. So those are free, and because, you know, actually Hill has a strategy. You can download it and something, I don't know, and play it on your computer. Was this your book? Thank you. So you already had one and you won one. That is so great. We already talked to Stephanie, so would you stand up and tell us who you are and who you hired by?
That's right. My name is Shanita Baxter. I was hired by Twan Bellamy. I'm part of Terry and Tia's organization.
Good. And have you already started reading
I have.
our book? What do you think about it?
I'm very impressed, especially with your Little Wayne reference.
Oh, shoot. Oh, God. Albright, we done brought up 50 Cent and Lil Wayne in the same day, and y'all won't be able to handle it. Oh, shoot. What a program to have so much fun and make so much money. That's the things we get to do. Today, me and Jane were invited to the Chancellor Suite to hang out at North Carolina State ball game. And so this is I got my Wolfpack jacket and stuff like that. They wouldn't let me wear it on the show. Actually, I wish I would bring it down here, Amber. I want to show it to them because it's my favorite part of the jacket. I want to see, Amber, if you would bring that, or somebody would get her to bring it down there. So we get to hang out, and it's late night. So Jane's like, I ain't going hanging out with y'all late at night. I was like, all right. So she'll be watching it on TV. So of course, Mac is a fill-in for Jane. You know what I mean? So that opened up 4 seats on the floor, right? So, and then my buddies that are going to be up in Chancellor Suite, they're texting, hey man, see you up there. To get to do stuff like that, to me, it's just crazy talk. What we get to do, help others, make a difference. All right, so the teaching that I wanted to do today was on, I don't know I need something to draw on, Billy. I can't figure out how to do that. I should. I thought it would pop right up right there on the gray ones. Okay, so if I was brand new, what I would do? So there's a lot of people that aren't brand new, so what are you going to do? You're going to say, how does Andy tell a new person? What does Andy tell a new person? And are you getting them started like I'm getting them started? Does that make sense? So page page 52 is really where I am. And I see so much in here that my top leaders, some of my leaders are not doing. The leaders like Terry Edwards, like Danny Johnson, are doing so many more higher percentage. Like, okay, like in football, what you do is you grade out quarterbacks, offensive linemen, tackles, defensive end. They grade them out, meaning they say you jumped off sides, you didn't move the right foot, does that make sense? You didn't read it correctly, you didn't do it right. But here's what I want to show you. Check this out right here. Like that. Does that make sense? I don't know if y'all can zoom in on that and see I got my kids and my wife. How good at focus. Oh, where do I need to go? Where do I need to go to do that? Where am I at? Huh? Thank you, Billy. See my wife and the kids. I can't wait to show that to Chancellor. And Derek Wittenberg. Wittenberg's always showing me how fancy his inside of his coat is. It's red or purple or something like that. I'm going to throw that on him tonight, Bo. Mess him up. And a guy I was talking to one of my buddies earlier, and he's like, yeah, man, we're going to make all the haters mad. And he's like, oh, I really don't think about that. I say, yeah, you do, don't lie. That's all. I mean, how many of y'all, half of it doing it just to tick off the poor folks, you know what I'm saying? Just, you know what I mean? Just show them, Right? More people we get, I can't wait till 5, 6 y'all get a jet. I'll be like, a friend of mine bought a jet. I can't wait to tell them that, you know what I mean? And my buddy was getting in his jet the other day, and, just so many stories around that. And my buddy's flying in on his private jet to see me. I can't wait. The more things I think that just annoy him, y'all know me. I mean, don't lie. Thank you, Mac. Thank you, Amber. How to get them started right, okay? So what would I do if I were you? So you got to listen to me, Terry. I know you're doing this, but I'm still hammering on you. I don't tell a guy, here's what you need to do. What you say is, here's what I would do. That's the first lesson is, I tell people, if I had to start all over, knowing what I know, been where I've been, this is what I would do. Now let me tell you something. I don't care what you do. You got wife and kids, or you're single with no bills, living with mom and daddy. I know she asked you, where are you going? I always love people who live at their home, especially if they're over 18. I'll be like, do they ask you where you been? No, they let me go and please. Like I said, they don't ask you where you been, who you hung out with. They don't ask you nothing about what you did, and you could just see them getting redder. You know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about? Who hated that when you live at home? Everybody's like, I want to live in my own house. You know what I mean? So, maybe they don't have any bills. Maybe they live at home still. Maybe they got 5 kids, 6 kids, dogs. Maybe they get a big house. But I always say this, like, I just point out where they are and say, I don't care. It's your life. You're the one that's brand new, newly engaged, and you still doing the honeymoon thing. I am cool with that. So you basically talk about where they are and tell them you don't care. But if I was to start over, this is what I would do. Now, a lot of speaking coaches, they say, don't say I. And I go, that is wrongy. Because when you say I, that's what you do. It doesn't offend anybody. Here's what I would do. Now, if you're speaking at the Rotary Club, yes, that is not what you want to talk about. It's got to be all about them and serving. But when you're talking to a guy who wants to get rich, you're saying, this is what I would do if I were you. Well, not if I was you. This is what I would do if it was me and I was starting over, because I don't know what you're going to do. So take all the pressure off and then light them up like a dadgum cheap cherry cigar. Okay? Y'all know how to light one of them up, right? All right. This is you, but what, you gonna make it out of here, Nick? If this is me, this is what I would do. Does that make sense? If this is me, this is what I would do, okay? I can't tell you what to do, so I'm constantly taking the pressure off and then hammering them. Because let me explain something to you. When the sand falls down into the hourglass, there's a crimp in the hourglass. You with me? And the last thing I want to be is the crimp in the hourglass. I want, when you coming down here, I want it to be like this right here, and you can just fall straight down, and you can just get all down there where the good stuff is fast. I don't want to be the, I tell everybody, I don't want to be the crimp in the hourglass. And I have managers, they are the crimp in the hourglass, because they don't tell them everything that they would do if they were starting all over again. They want to tell them a little bit of time because they can't handle it. Now, that's true if you're bossing them and telling them what to do. But if you're telling them this is what I would do, I don't care what you do. And then when you really don't get mad at them, you really don't get mad at them when they don't do everything. But you can say, this is what I would do if I were you. Hopefully, Debbie, when I hit you this morning, this is what I would do if I were you. This is what I wish I had to do over. This is what I would do. What's your name, sir? Second row beside me. Bruce. B-R-U-C-E, like the warrior guy that took over that saved the people. What's his name? Yeah, not Bruce Almighty. Bruce, the one that killed people with his sword. No, not the karate guy. It's a different one. Huh? The Islander. Highlander. Yeah. Yeah. What was the name of that show? No, not that one. Huh? A video game expert back there in the back. That's Bruce right there. I'll think about it in a minute. The one that said, give me, no, not any yet. All right. Huh? No. I'm talking about the one where he didn't want to get involved in the fight. And they raped his wife. Braveheart. What is his name, Bruce?
Gibson.
Huh? Mel Gibson. What's his name in the show? Yeah, William Wallace. I don't know why you thought it was Bruce. Everybody makes mistakes. This is what I would do if I was you. Okay? All right, so the first thing in here, it even has the corporate office. Everything is in here. Like, this is a recipe to become a multimillionaire. This is the Millionaire Maker Manual. If you're not following stuff in here, something wrong with you. Does that make sense? This is like, I mean, when people give me bad food, I'm like, where'd you get the recipe? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you didn't follow the recipe. What is wrong with you? You open it up, and first thing you say, what's the oven on? What did you have the oven on? It says preheat it. Did you preheat it? Like, it's just like, I can just tell them what they did wrong. Timing of it, the environment, something's wrong, right? I mean, if you follow the recipe, you're going to get stinking rich. Does that make sense? Here's what people say to me, what am I doing wrong? You ain't following the recipe. That's what I'm saying. They want me to point out their flaws. I ain't got time to point out your flaws. I wrote a book on how to make millions. Follow it. Does that make sense? Follow. Okay. But I want to make sure you understand what's in here. So the first thing is this is a sprint. Most of what I talk about is I tell people, if I had to do over, I would sprint, not jog. Does that make sense? I would run, not walk. I would do things like, for example, when I got in class, I would only do study. I would not watch any more videos, no more motivation. I wouldn't go to school. I would quit my job. Now, that's what I would do, right? But I don't care. You might need to keep your job until you keep your Uber job, but this is what I would do. I quit. As a matter of fact, when I saw an opportunity like this before I got my insurance license, I quit getting my master's degree. I know people going to community college. You keep going to community college, I don't care. I had paid for classes. I was 97% done and quit. I went 100% in on what I was going to do. Does that make sense? I ain't telling nobody to quit no college. And Sarah graduated college in 2.5 years. A 4-year college, 2.5 years. And her daughter, they doing orientation at State Saturday. And her sister, I said her daughter, but her sister, Emily. And so I'm okay with going to college. You know, and Shayla Thomas, she said, I ain't going to college. I said, I don't blame you, okay? I wouldn't either if I had to do over. But if a kid wants to go to college, I'm 100% for it. My kids went to college. My son's at college. I don't, it's not my life. That's another hard thing to get used to is you can't tell everybody what to do. I don't like to think about it even right now. I want to tell y'all what to do. Anybody else want to tell everybody what to do and they want them to do it? Terry, don't be talking about it like this. You just because you're sitting right there beside. Valentine's. Hey guys, heads up, Valentine's Day is coming around the corner. I mean, I bet you I've had every single one of my secretaries have told me every day for the last 10 days, and thank y'all for reminding me because y'all know how I am. 100%, baby. That's what I would do if I were you. 24/7, I would sell, build, and recruit. That's what I would do, 24/7. I would go whole hog. Parents, relatives, spouses, children, they would all think that I had been drugged and kidnapped and like one of those, you ever see those movies where they grab a person and they change the way they think, just snap, just put a bug or some kind of controlling thing in their head? I would want people to think that I'd lost my mind. That's what I would do. That's what I would do. And I would prepare myself to lose friends that were not friends anyway. I would say, all right, I know I'm going to lose friends when I go ha. Now listen, I'm telling you, I don't care if you don't do this. I'm looking for people that are just like that. Does that make sense? You say, Andy, do I have to be like that to be successful at this? No, but to be successful fast, you do have to be like that. Does that make sense? You can get rich. You might be 79 or 83 by the time you get rich. I'm talking about if you would like to get rich in the next 2 years, you need to get committed and quit trying to be a guitar player. Quit trying to level up on. I learned what this meant Saturday with this guy. He said, Andy, do you have any idea? I think his name was Nick or Vic. He said, what's his name, Kyle? Nick. He said, I've spent thousands and thousands of hours trying to level up on the video game. I'm going to try to level up my life. And he sold his e-box or whatever you call those things. Huh? Xbox. Wrong letter. He sold his Xbox. I thought, boy, done got him an e-box. Tried to build his own level up. Okay? So stop it if you want to get rich and just so crazy. Now listen, I don't care. I'm going to NC State game now. I ain't working all the time. But now I got millions, right? So I don't know what level. I know this. I tell everybody, if you go to one of those concerts and the primary seats are $365 and you pay $20, you ought to just beat yourself right there. You ought to take your foot and just kick a hole in your rear. I mean, that is not, you can't call that entertainment. That's just more frustration. Oh, who sits back there? You with me? If it ain't first class, don't do it. Save up, go to one concert this year in first class, or get an invite with somebody else, something. Whew. Terrible for your self-image. Bad for self-image. People you sitting around. Ugh. They they pee on them out there in the grass back over in the back, and if you like you say, I'm back there in the grass, but I'm up front. Not good, because everything rolls downhill. You know what I'm talking about, like in the amphitheater? You don't want to be way back at the top of the amphitheater, and you don't want to be at the bottom of the amphitheater. You want to be under the shelter up in a suite. Yes, sir. That's it. I thought about this stuff. When I was little, I said, Is this making sense? 100%. This is what I would do if I were you. And show them, say, like, this is I would do if it was me. I can't say that if it was you. I don't care what you do. So it's a sprint. Okay, now watch this. We call this license, list, convention. Okay? And people say, which one do you do first? All three, 24/7, instantly. So if a person says, I only want to sell, like, all right, fine, all I want you to do is sell. Is there anybody that you thought might be good at this or needs this? And I go, I don't want to recruit at first. I go, I know you don't. I'm not talking about recruiting. I'm talking about who do you know that needs out of their stupid job. Who do you know? Now, I want to see how good this works. I go, I know. I'm just saying, who do you know? Does that make sense? That's called list. A lot of people think it means get a list. No, it means find out if they know anybody and then you talk to them. You say, well, that's only one person. That's not a list. It's a small list, but it's a list. Does that make sense? And then you go for number 2 and then number 3. Now, if a person says, Andy, I'm whole hog fired up, I want to build a hierarchy, I go, all right, let's talk about your top 10 or your top 20, because I'm not going to start calling their dumb people. You with me? I want their top 20 smart, best people for me to call. Does that make sense? I want them to call everybody, and I'll call their top few people, but I want them to call their top few people too. So if this was me, I would call up my friends, and first of all, I'd text them and say, I know this, the word biz would be in there. And I'd say, hey, can we talk biz a minute? I got a friend, he talks about bread. He said, can we talk, are you serious about your bread? I think it means money in his world. He says, are you serious about your bread? Okay? But I'd say, hey, Bo, can you talk biz? Hey, Bo, can you talk bread? And then those are the people. In other words, I'd get him, if I were me, I would text all my friends. And he says, is that what you did in the beginning? I go, no, I don't think they had text when I started. I don't think. It's hard to remember when things come along, you know, but that's what I would do if I was starting today. I would text all my friends. I would study this class thing 24/7. I definitely wouldn't sleep, okay, except for maybe a couple hours, take a couple hour nap. And I would go ahead and mark 18 through 21 July. I would go ahead, matter of fact, get your calendar out. Let's put that on your calendar. Hey, let me send you an invite. I would join band. I would send them a band invite. And I would go, hey, where's your app phone? And I would download the Alliance app. And then I'd show them, I said, oh, by the way, do you know what podcasts are? Let me see your phone. I show them what a podcast is. And then I would do a search and find the Alliance podcast. And this is the things I would do. Does this make sense? Like, Andy, you wouldn't tell them to do all this. No, I would tell them that I would do it if it was me. Does that make sense? And I would mark it in their calendar. If it was me, I would mark it in the calendar. This is not too offensive to anybody to ask them to mark that in their calendar. So you go to their calendar, there's nothing on it, and you put this on it. That reserves it so that later on when you go to sell them on it and they've already booked something, you've already got it reserved. Does that make sense? I'm telling y'all, this is the way to blow this thing up. We get 12 or 15 people that come on board, hear this talk, and then they do it. They will pass so many people in this company because people are not taking it that serious. And a lot of people don't take this that serious. And I've been in the NFL world the last 3 months. It's crazy how those kids are so, like, they get up and they just work out religiously, and they're so fanatical about the NFL. And I'm like, you know, they get concussions, right? You know, like some people don't want their kids, but they go, no, I don't care. They just, no matter what you say to them, they're 100%. I love that. So to find people that will come into this and treat this as serious as those kids treat the NFL. I've been more serious about this than ever playing professional baseball or being an engineer, because this was mine. This is your business. You own it. And once you're vested, you're going to make money on your downline forever. You with me? Once you're vested, so so what I would be wanting to do if I were you is to become an agency manager overnight. Okay? So the way you want to do this is you want to find 4 good people. And the way I recommend you do that is you hire about 12 good ones, and that'll give us 4 good ones. So what I would do if I were you, is I would start hiring people like crazy. You want to have 4 great ones. So you might hire 1, 2, 3, multiple people, but what we're going to do is we're going to try to identify 4 people. That's what we're going to do. So that right there is on page, you can just flip it over 2 pages, 3 pages, on page, where's it? I know I just looked at it. Oh, here it is right here. On page 71, so 51, it has that 4 people becoming agency manager. Now it's got a key leader, team leader, BP, and IBA, and I'd say don't worry about that. Let me show you what it is, okay? So because that's a little bit old, but it's perfect. You with me? We're going through and modifying the green book, and there'll be new green books come out in a year or so, but this is perfect. Okay, so the next page, it talks about if you're willing to call your people, or if you have a manager willing. Every time you turn around, I got hurry up in here, speed up. What I would do, if I were you, I got to talk to a guy the other day, and he's like, what do I need to do next? I said, fly out here right now. He's in Dallas. I said, no, he's in Arkansas. I said, fly out here right now. So last I heard, he's coming out here Wednesday night, and he's bringing 3 people with him. I talked to him yesterday morning, first time ever. He said, what would you do? Right now, here's what I would do. He's already licensed. So I'm telling him via now, he's watching, you want to have 4 massive organizations. Don't get me wrong, you want this right here. You want to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 massive organizations and become an executive board member. Now, one of my favorite things is getting these rings. Who's got the agency manager rings in here? Has anybody got the agency manager? I want you to, you need this. You need mine, and you need the agency manager. Both of them are critical. This is a little bit bigger ring, a lot more money. Just pass those around. Let everybody see what they are, see what they look like. You get one when you become an agency manager, and then you upgrade when you go up here to board member, junior board member, you get the big ring. Okay? That's the NFL, baby. This is the NFL up here. Does that make sense? This is the big leagues. All right? Okay, so who are you looking for? Right then, I would give them a Alliance Aiden card, playing card, and also I would text them a picture of it. So many times I talk to a young superstar, and I go, do you know who we're hiring? And they go, no. And the manager says, I just met them last week, or I just met them. Dude, this is day 1, first 15-minute stuff. This is what I would do. Now, if a person is still thinking about it, no, you're not telling them all this. But if a guy's going, what do I need to do to get rich? I would get a band. I'd get them on band. I'd show them. Like these are this is the groundwork. I would do the basics. I really would. People say it seems like too much. That's not too much. You're talking too much. We need to get more into substance. I got a picture of Alliance Aiden. I think the next MMM book comes out. I'll have a picture of Alliance Aiden and Alliance Alice right there. It talks about who to consider: friends, neighbors, relatives, church members, fellow employees. Putting that list together. People you respect, people that seem to like you, that you seem to like, people that are looking for more out of life. All that is on page 56. Then we go into spreading the good word. You owe it to them to show it to them. How to do the list. All these pages are about getting a person started. The other thing that's in here is this. There's 2 brothers. What they did is their job was to carry the water from one side of the island to where the people were living. And one of them was like, he said, man, I'm glad I got a good job. And the other guy did, I do too. So I'm glad I got a good job bringing the water. This is always going to be a need. And the other one said, yeah, I'm glad we got a good job and stuff, but what if we built a pipeline to bring the water to the people? And the guy was like, we'd be out of job. And he said, no, I think we'd get promoted to something else because there's always something to do. And then he said, well, it's going to take forever. Well, the brother that wanted to build a pipeline, he said, if we started now, we'd finish the pipeline sooner, and that money would start coming in. Excuse me, the water would start coming in by itself. So the pipeline in this case is, do you want to do all the work the rest of your life, or would you like some of the water piped over to you? Does that make sense? Like, I know you're glad you have a job, and I'm glad you have a good job too, but what if you built a hierarchy and you had money coming in? Okay, so I talked to them about the script. I talked to them about the transition. I want you to call your friends now. If I were me, I would call my people. I would get them started. I would not wait for anybody else. If I talk to somebody in your group, this is exactly what I'm telling them, Danny. Now, sometimes I'm just meeting them. I just say a few things to get them on. But I expect you to go ahead and say, you get them to do everything. Or tell them that that's what you would do. Okay? I would call them. Here's a transition phrase I wouldn't talk to them. Bruce, I wouldn't ramble for 10 minutes. If you call a friend, I say, hey, listen. So after you text them, hey, man, you want to talk biz? You call them up. You say, hey, listen, the reason for the call, the reason I'm talking about business is. And then 4 words, license, help, leads, and insurance. That's the 4 words you want to use. Insurance, help, license, and leads. You want to make sure you mix those 4 leads. I ain't put in any kind of order you want. Insurance, license, leads, and help. You want to help me. So that's on page 60 where it's talking about that. And it has it in there. Another thing is you're tossing it out. It's in there. Toss it out. Don't shove it down their throat. You're not trying to tell them what to do. Would you be open? Here's what you need to know. And then bam, fam them. Always book a meeting from a meeting. Okay? Oh, by the way, what's the difference in the guy that was thankful for a job and didn't want to build a pipeline and the guy who wanted to build a pipeline? The dream. Only difference is the size of the dream. Both of them had dreams. One of them had bigger dreams. That's the whole. That's on the power of the pipelines on page 62. And again, move. My dad was the hardest working man I ever met in my life, but I don't think he understood the franchise or the pyramiding or the networking or the agency building. So you put that hard work ethic along with the smart work ethic of that pipeline, you got to, and that's in there. It's not so much personalities, everything. You got to study this stuff and show your new agent this when you're giving it in the book. This is the formula. This is the recipe. All this is in there. It's a proven system. You don't want confusion, chaos, or colossal catastrophes. If you keep it simple for people, you don't have messes. If you build it right in the beginning, you don't have to correct them later. So what are we going to do? We're going to get referrals. We're going to fill out the green sheet day 1. We're going to get a check. And what else we're going to do? We're going to recruit. That's the 4 things that you get a person doing in the very beginning. I'm telling them that. We want great agents. Everything in here is this first few pages about being great. You can have everything in life if you would just help enough people get what they want. If I were you, I would find people that want freedom. So you're helping them become free. You got to find them, not make them. Does that make sense? So then it gets into the agency manager, and then I get them to the next meeting. I've got the convention dates, and then I get them to the next meeting. If they can't go because they're booked, I don't care. If they don't want to go, I don't care. What I'm doing is I'm lining everything up, and I'm drawing a line, and I'm saying, if I was on this side of the line, what I would do is step over the line. But not everybody's going to step over that line. And if you stay on that side, you got to tell them it's okay, because you want people okay. They don't need to feel offended. Okay. The other thing I promised was how to be happy, and I have been ecstatic doing this. But I thought to myself, what if we had a formula? What if we had a Jeff Bright strategy of being happy? Jeff, are you in the house? Are you close by? There he is. We should be clapping. I said, because it's in here about being happy, but it's not in that chapter right there, right where I am on page 52. It's in there. Oh, man, if y'all could do the formula, this is the formula right here. It makes you happy. I told a lady this one time. She said, "What do you do to help your self-image?" I said, "I reach in my pocket." She said, why are you reaching in the pocket? I said, because I grab hold of those hundreds. And she said, I thought you were such a great human being that you had some other way to self-motivated and feel like you're worth something. I said, no. That's what I do. I reach in my pocket. So what if you didn't have none? Well, I knew I was broke. I didn't act like I was rich. That's what cracks me up. It's an ugly combination, is arrogance and brokenness. Somebody thinks they know everything, and they got nothing. And they start that's when that's your biggest test, is when you're telling a person this, and they're broke, and they start telling you how to do it. You got to have a poker face. You can't say, you donkey. You know what I mean? You can't do that. You just got to keep smiling and act like, it's like looking at your hands and you got a 2 and a 3 and a 7 and an 8, and you're like, you know what I mean? You can't look at that like you got a terrible hand. Or if you got all aces, you can't go like, you got to just kind of keep that combination. Poker face. When they're like, oh, God, but that does make me mad. So those of you that make me mad that you're like that, I hope I have a good poker face with you and you don't know that I care. Jeff Bright, they loving your book, brother. They are loving your book. Look right here. Jeff Bright, baby. Jeff Bright. What was you going to tell me about happiness? And then we didn't get to it. We had to.
Well, I'm happy that you kind of like dress like I normally do.
This is a Jeff Bright suck-up uniform.
I tried to put a little color today, and then he dresses like the community college uniform. Oh, Lord.
Oh, shoot.
Happiness. Boy, it's very subjective, isn't it? I mean, everybody has their own idea of what makes people happy and what gets you to a happy place, your happy place. But I'm going to try to make it objective as I can and give you a formula for it. All right? That doesn't mean it's right.
It's right.
Have you ever seen a formula for one? For happiness? You about to sit now. Happiness is belief plus desire. All right, we're going to explain it. All right, so what do I mean by belief? Belief, I'm really talking about faith. And desire, I'm talking about conviction. So what is the forces that's opposing these two things, the forces? Well, this is kind of like an easy one, right? Disbelief opposes belief, and is that right? Settling.
Hey, I want you to work. I want you to work with this a little bit. I know this. The person I'm working with, I know that if I keep them having a sense of control, I know they're happier with me. Does that make sense? In other words, a sense of control is when you feel like it's out of control, you are miserable. Like when a relative's dying or sick or when your kid's sick, you have no control. When you have a sense of control, does that make sense? Mm-hmm. It's happiness. So just kind of think about that as you're doing that. I know psychology that's true.
Well, trying to give people ownership of something helps. And I spoke about this before when I worked with juveniles, the ones that have that are very delinquent. When I put them in charge of the other delinquents, they get their act together because now they have ownership. and they don't want to let me down, and they don't want to let their peers down. We talked about that last week, getting people involved. All right, so this is a big topic here, and I mean, we could spend a lot of time on each one of these, but really the formula is trust plus yearning is happiness. Because a lot of people, they can't accept something without proof, and that's what belief is. Faith is accepting something without proof.
Oh, that's big.
And so you waiting for proof, you're never going to get started, right? So I'm saying that it takes more trust than it does faith. If you trust, the faith will follow. Now, that's just my opinion. That's just my opinion. And you could have people argue that. Let's go over here for a second. A lot of people don't believe, and a lot of people over here settle. And those two things are detrimental to our business. Not believing they can't get started. We can't get them started. And once they get started, they settle for some level down here. Right? They're not moving up. Because they've already, in their mind, predetermined, I'm not good enough to get up here. This purple shade is, that's not me. I'm not good enough. I'm only good for, their dream stops at the blue or the green over here, you know?
My books call it tolerate. Your life is what you tolerate. Is that just a different word saying the exact same thing? Hopefully it is.
So let's look at yearning. Yearning's more like about passion, a longing to, a want, a wish. It's the desire that you see evidence of it when people are longing to achieve something, but this only happens, this yearning only happens after the proof is provided. Right? So once proof is provided, people will yearn and their passion will rise to the top. Over here, they have to just take it on face value because there's no proof yet. But once the proof, so how do you get people excited about and yearn? What is the proof you're trying to provide? Well, you do it in the hot spot with testimonials, right? Testimonials right here. But over here, testimonials are going to just, they're going to bounce off a new person. So over here, what you got to do is what Andy wants you guys to do better jobs at is dream building. We've got to come up with some better formulas about how to dream and how to, put that dream out there in a tangible format. We get them to say, oh, I want this or I want a Lamborghini, but we need to do a little bit more research about how to make people's dreams become more real to them faster.
It's like getting out of the house, their parents asking them questions.
Yeah.
Or if an adult living there and they like, I mean, you got to get. I hated being broke more than I thought about getting rich. And most people are like that. They hate their circumstance. They hate not going out to eat. We had this lady as a nurse she hadn't raised in 20 years, and she just wanted enough money to go out to eat. She's killing it. She's down there. I see her in Lakeland. I'm not sure where she lives, but she just wanted that extra, and that got her to go. She hated not going out to eat, hated not having change in her pocket, hated not going to concerts. Whatever it is you hate, or if you can figure them, hate something. Hating people looking down at you.
And that gets into what I would say disbelief is having no perspective. If you don't have a perspective, how are you going to learn to trust? Because you don't really have any kind of opinion about trust if you have no perspective. Trust is not even in your vocabulary. You're living in the past like we talked about last week because your perspective is not big enough. Your dream's not big enough. So if you don't get out enough, you're not going to have anything to measure yourself against other than your next door neighbor. You got to get out. I mean, I know some people that Andy grew up, we grew up with these people, they ain't got out of Alamance, they ain't left Alamance County.
Lord.
That's all they know is the parameters of this county. And if they travel, that's why traveling is so big. That's why going on these trips, it's not just having fun. You're getting to meet other people, other languages, other perspectives, and realize you're just a very small piece of the puzzle in this world. And then once you can do that and realize that is your reality, then you're able to trust because you've got a broader perspective. You're not looking through this small lens at life. You got a big lens. Now over here, settling, I mean, a lot of people settle because they have no ambition. No ambition. None. Zero. So how do you get people to have an ambition? You've got to introduce them to this thing, reintroduce them to desire. Because with desire comes drive. That's what we want, is we want to wake up their drive. Giving people desires wakes up their drives in life. So, is this making sense? Okay, I don't, it's a little deep, but I just want to make sense of it. Now, I'm going to quote something out of the book for both of these to try to bring this home, all right? I'm going to do that.
Red book?
Red book, yeah. Is that my book, the one I brought in?
Yeah, that's the one you brought in. You get it marked.
All right. Let me see which one I got first here. Yeah, I just pulled this one out. So, conviction. In the house book, page 148. It says, conviction is worthless unless it is converted into conduct. So if this, I mean, we can introduce you to this, but if it don't show in your numbers, it's just a waste of your talents. Some of you got a lot of talent. You could be killing this business, but you are scared to death to wake up your drive. You're just scared. Because you know once you do, you're going to be held to a higher standard, and you like being held to a lower standard. Let's admit it. Some people like where their lot in life, because once you get out of that lot, you can't complain anymore.
Yeah, and there's work involved.
And yeah, amen to that. There's work involved. So the moral that was written in here on page 148 about that quote, a strong conviction that is not acted upon becomes the parent to many regrets to come. So if you don't, listen, I'm trying to wake it up today. If you don't get it woke up, one day you're going to wake up with regret. It's just inevitable. And that's a terrible, I mean, I've said it before, I don't know of anything any worse than regret.
Let me see if this ties in. I believe in heaven. And I believe that it's going to last forever. A lot of faith, a lot of trust. Because you can't see it, touch it, smell it. I mean, there's some people that claim they've been there before. I don't know whether they do or not. But I believe it's there. And so my desire to have a big position, to have a lot of opportunity there, is based on how much I do. You with me? How much I do. So there's where my desire, my passion, that's why it seems like I'm happy all the time. It's because I got a yearning to get here. Now, it's like the country song now. Everybody wants to go to heaven. Nobody wants to go now. Nobody wants to go now. So that's why I work out as much as I do and try to watch what I eat, because I want to live here because I enjoy it, because I don't want to go now. Does that make sense? But that's my happiness. That's my happiness. You say, what about your wife? Oh, I love my wife. Oh, man, anything for Jane and my kids. I'm happy about that. But without them, I'm still happy. Does that make sense? I love my friends. I love hanging out with Jeff. Without Jeff, I'm still happy. If given a choice, I'm with him and with Goad and with Chris and Courtney Long and with Jason and Tony. You with me? That's happy. By the way, me and Jane were told that we could take another couple with us to Budapest, Hungary. And Jane, we and I were talking. We said, let's invite Jason and Tony. And they were like, we're going. I was like, no, you need to check your calendar. And they're like, no, we don't need to check the calendar. I said, y'all got kids. And they go, we don't care. And I was just like, all right, y'all, okay. All right, well, book it. So, but, I enjoy my friends, but I'd be happy. Does that make sense? It's got to be, is this trying in what you're saying? Mm-hmm. It's that happiness of knowing where I'm going and knowing I'm going to get there. Does that make sense? Which is control. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Knowing it's okay if I err, if I sin, if I mess up is okay. That's why some of these religions that are so dictatorial, or what do you call them? Yeah, but they're regimented. What does Jeff call it? Structured, huh? Legalistic. That's the word they always use. Like I don't buy into that legalistic view. You with me? I believe in here and here and here. Does that make it just so simple that I can stay happier than most people?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
Oh, somebody said trust is earned. Not true. The alliance trusts you immediately. But then when you don't do stuff, you lose what was given. You lose what was given because we see you not doing it, but we don't judge. Does that make sense? But we don't trust you either. And the way you know that we don't is we give other people opportunities because we don't trust that you're going to follow through. Does that make sense? But if trust is given quickly, that's what you saw me. It was we trusted you immediately. That's Nick. That's what you saw. We trusted you immediately. You could steal us and you could hurt us because our belly's exposed when we trust. Now, I know this. The more you do what you said you would do over and over again, the bit stronger the trust becomes. Does that make sense? So I earn my trust with you. You earn your trust with me. But the truth is, I trust you immediately. And you have a choice to trust me immediately and get your license in 24 hours to start booking 20 appointments. Does that make sense? I think it ties in perfectly with what you're saying.
And look, this we don't have much time left, but this getting down to trust from belief. I mean, faith is the first part of it. But let me read you this quote on page 210 under helpfulness. No one is useless in the world who lightens the burdens of another. Now that comes from Charles Dickens, the Christmas Carol guy. You are suddenly relevant when you decide to help another get what they need and want out of life. So if you're struggling moving from taking your belief down to trust, go out and help somebody. And you'll suddenly start trusting again. I know that sounds, there's no correlation in your mind right now how that works, but magically, if you are a disbeliever, and I want you to start believing in this business, and then I want you to start trusting and that it'll work for you, then I'm going to take you out and let you help somebody else realize their dream. And then you'll start to trust again. It's amazing.
That's crazy because a lot of the college coaches, if they had a choice, they'd take their kids to other countries and let them get a different perspective and let them help kids and make a difference, even in your circle, because now I know what they're trying to do. They're trying to build those players' trust in each other and trust in their weight program, their strength building, their system. They're trying to help them build it.
That's exactly right.
Because if we get everybody, Kyle, Nick, Toby, Debbie, we get everybody. Everybody gets to trust in us. Brandon, Sarah, you tracking with me? Then we're going to be national champions, baby. $1 billion company.
The hesitation is going to leave us.
Hesitation to kill us.
Hesitation is going to kill us, but it'll leave us if we start trusting. It's a leap of faith.
Let's go, boys and girls. Love y'all. Thanks for tuning in.